right here. John in Philly. John, how are you?
Hello, Basil. Thank you for taking the call.
Yes, pleasure.
Basil, I
would
wanted
like
to
to
put
look
a
at-
question directly to you regarding the NASDAQ Composite, which you thoroughly went through earlier. And so I'm looking at your chart work, actually, the monthly, weekly, daily on Tiger TV, and have this question. Or first an observation. I observe on the monthly, weekly, daily, I've got Chapman wave, peak E, peak G, and peak D all in place. In addition, on the composite, I see on that weekly charts, I see that the high yesterday up there at that 74.58 high on the composite,
Right.
tested but did not close the gap of that daily chart island top formation that we have back from March.
Back on the 19th,
question,
yeah.
with those
Okay.
observations, looking at your Chapman wave tools, what, if any reason, can you share with me that tells me don't look at this and call that a top with a sizable decline dead ahead? What's there that says not to do that, please?
Actually, can I rephrase that for a moment? What I want you to say is if you are looking at an extended move to the upside, and what's fascinating about this is that basically from July of 2016, the composite index spiked above the 9-period moving average, and ever since then, about 4 months later, it tested it once but closed sharply above it, and you can see that white space because it ran the 9-period moving average. Usually I say walk because it tests and it keeps bouncing off. This time it's as if there was another a moving average above it, and that moving average above it basically was the support level. Then all of a sudden, you got in February, you got the spike down to the 66.30 level, and that touched the 9-period moving average. Then it rallies back up, makes a new high right there in March. It goes to 76.37.27. Now it's testing once again the 9-period moving average. But what's fascinating for me is that although I'm doing this a little reluctantly, I'm only doing it as a visual because it really isn't yet the oval pattern that I talk about when I'm talking about the Chapman wave stalk leg formation. This is something else. All of a sudden I'm thinking biblical. I'm just trying. Who's the guy with the slingshot? A Goliath. Wait. Was it Moses that slew Goliath? Well, one of those guys in the story, and he swings the thing and he shoots off the slingshot, whatever it is. You see the volatility that's being created over here when it went to that peak F back in the week of the 26th of January. That was the top of the S&P and the Dow, and then it drops sharply, and it drops, I think that was about 18%, and then it rallies even more. It goes to that peak that I've called G/A, probably a G for now I'm calling it, and it goes to 76.37, and then it comes back down, and now it's back up. This kind of volatility creates an oscillation that starts to have an upside barrier and a downside support cushion. If it breaks either one of those, it says it should continue in that direction. I'm thinking slingshot momentum that hits a barrier and then gets propelled in a different direction. So here I am, and I'm going to make it real clear. I'm talking long term because I know this is part of the question that you have. The long term, at any point in the next 3 months, if the composite index trading at 73.50 right now doesn't have to break, it doesn't have to close there. It just has to break above 74.22. If it does that, any day that it does that, that monthly chart is really broken to the upside. It doesn't have to close there. And anytime it breaks, I'm going to first go with this low that was made in April of 68.05. Let's call it 6,800. A close below that says you're pretty much going to test the low that was made back in February, and that could even get uglier. So that's the long term. My eye says that the monthly chart is still within a buy mode in all the indices, and that I don't have anything especially since I have to base it on the short term, the daily that goes to the weekly, that goes to the monthly, to say that there's anything but a consolidation going on right now. Does that answer your question a little bit?
Very thorough, Basil. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much, John. We'll be right back.